Hello, and welcome to the Promoting Thoughts League of Legends Dominion special preview episode. So, I'm going to assume that anybody that's come here actually knows already a little bit about League of Legends, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. League of Legends is a team-based PvP game that currently supports a map control gameplay mode where teams look to push along, control the map until they finally take the enemy's base. Now, sometime soon, and bearing in mind that Riot, who operate League of Legends, operates a soon premise that is somewhat similar to Blizzard and Valve's, this could be any time, but somewhat soon they will release a new mode which is called Dominion. Dominion introduces a lot of new things to League of Legends, and as a League of Legends player, I personally am very much excited by this change. It introduced a control point game mode. For those of you who've played World of Warcraft, the phrase Arathi Basin will ring some bells. For those of you who haven't, control point games are basically based around there being several points on a map that teams compete to control, and the team that controls the most is deemed to be winning and racks up or clocks down the other team's score until one team wins. In League of Legends, the gameplay changes quite dramatically in Dominion. For a start, a lot of the early game grind and back and forth is completely removed. Characters all start at level 3 and will have 1,375 gold to start with. That's quite a considerable amount, and if you were a 5v5 player and you had that by level 3, you would be very happy. So that's the first thing that changes. It means you'll be coming out of the gates a lot faster, a lot better geared. Now, with 1,300 gold, you can buy some boots and a couple of other items to increase your potency, which means you'll be moving faster and doing a lot more damage. And this means you'll be looking for early kills on the enemy team a lot sooner than you would be in Summoner's Rift. And that's one of the big premises of this new game mode, is that they want to promote skirmishes rather than team fights. They want fights to happen quickly, they want them to happen fast, and they want that to happen straight away. Another of the changes that they're introducing to accommodate this is they're actually going to be putting little quests into the map, and you'll get these objectives, and they will be to hold maybe 2 points or to take a certain point. There could be any number of objectives in there. If you complete them, you'll be getting what's being described as a sizable reward. Now, there's no information I could track down as to what this reward is, but I imagine with the premise of the game, it'll be a hefty chunk of XP and some gold, possibly a little bit of score for your team as well. Now, what is interesting about Dominion is how it brings some champions who were considered next to useless in the normal 5v5 game up to very, very strong levels of power. For example, everybody loves Twisted Fate and Ashe in the normal 5v5 mode, and those are going to be very strong characters in Dominion as well, along with characters like Gangplank, Pantheon, who are also going to have a very strong presence, and that's because the ability to strike from anywhere on the map is going to be very important in this game. Imagine, if you will, that your team is faking an attack onto one base to try and draw the enemy out. The enemy come to counter you, and then all of a sudden your Ashe can fire an arrow at them and stun them, while your Pantheon and your Twisted Fate can both just disappear from where they are and reappear, a long way away and start capturing a now undefended point. The strategic element is going to change dramatically. You're always going to be caught trying to balance defending what you've got with pushing for control of more. Since it's a 5v5 map with 5 control points, you cannot possibly defend them all properly at once. And this is what's going to make the game interesting. A lot of the actual focus, I imagine, is going to be around holding 2 points and trying to capture the point that's going to be contested between both teams. So both teams will hold 2 points and defend those while trying to capture and hold a third one. And this is where a lot of the back and forth is going to come. And this is when you have to decide, do you commit your team to a push, or do you hold some people back to defend your points, knowing that if your enemy gets the upper hand, they're going to do a counter push? It's going to encourage a heck of a lot of ganking, that's for sure. There's no jungling, so everything's going to be about lane play, and from what I'm told, the gold and XP are going to flow a lot quicker than they do in Summoner's Rift. Riot are officially and tentatively stating that they expect people to be hitting level 18 at around the 12 to 14 minute mark. That is a very fast level in game, so you're going to be at your most optimal power very quickly. The change to the gameplay modes and emphasis on fast and quick fights also does a lot to shake up what's known as the metagame. The current metagame on the Summoner's Rift won't fit into this game, I don't think. What you're going to want on your team is a lot of very beefy people, a lot of people with mobility and these are going to be the strongest champions in my opinion, especially the tanky DPS or the bruisers as they're called that happen to have a lot of mobility. Again, I'm looking at your Pantheons and your Garens and people like that who can get very quickly from one point on the map to another. In terms of supports, characters that are probably going to be strongest out of the support bracket is going to be your characters like Heimdinger, Janna, and possibly Karma as well. I say Heimdinger because he's going to be the guy that you're going to want to hold a point for you. He can leave his turrets down and then move on to help out with a team fight elsewhere and contribute some damage and CC, bringing his turrets over if needed. And if the enemy attacks the point he's left behind, he's always got his ulti to fire up those turrets to maximum and help to defend that point so you can get there. So he's going to be a very strong little guy in this one. Karma, I think, will see an increased presence simply because of her utility, both for being able to hold a point and push one, and also for the fact that she can make somebody move incredibly fast. So you can set up a fake or a feint to one point and get to another a lot quicker than your enemy will be able to react. I also think you're going to see a lot of the traditionally powerful champions such as Twisted Fate and Ashe in this game mode, simply because of their global presence, which we've covered before, and there's no need to go into too much detail about these. Other champions that I expect to be very strong in this game mode are your Renekton's, the new champion Skarner, anybody that can get from point A to point B very quickly, and anybody that can interrupt somebody trying to control a point is going to be very strong. But the other thing you're going to want to look for is people who can defend a point very well, and this is where I was talking about the Renektons of this world, the Nasus, you know, the champions that can stand there and hold a place and say you shall not pass. These are going to be very strong, and Nivea is another one that I expect to see a lot of in this game mode. Champions with low mobility are not going to be so popular. One of the interesting things they've done is they've rebalanced the items as well. They're talking about removing Banshee's Veil entirely, which is going to make your casters a lot stronger. They're going to remove all the snowball items, so you're not going to see any Magi's Soul Stealers or any Leviathans or sort of the occults in this game mode, which is going to mean, again, that consistently good play in the fights is going to be important, but getting killed is not going to be a dramatic loss for your team. In fact, sometimes getting killed is going to be perfectly acceptable. One person who goes to defend a point and manages to hold it for 20 seconds for an enemy team's assault, while your own team can capture 2 points, is going to have scored a win for his team even though he's died. Whereas in Summoner's Rift, there's very few times that a death is actually worth it. Contrary to what a lot of the Summoner showcases tell you, death is very rarely worth it. Consider if you're a jungler in Summoner's Rift and you go and attack somebody at their tower and you die. Yeah, you've brought your team an assist and a kill, whereas the enemy team's only got a kill. But what you've also done is you've relieved your presence on the map and the pressure on the other lanes, and they can push your team harder now because of the fact that you're not there and in that jungle. In Dominion, dying while defending a point and enabling your team to score a bigger victory is going to be a fairly common thing. So don't be afraid of death. It's going to be a very fast-paced, a very frantic matchmaking mode. I, for one, am very much looking forward to it. The shorter games and less snowballing of matches should make for a much better community feel. I have wanted to talk about the League of Legends community before, but been very scared to, because it is a very negative, very inhospitable place, and I think this game mode will do a lot to alleviate that, because the lack of a snowballing element, the lack of matches being lost in the very early stages, will make the community a lot more tolerant of other players, I think, at least when playing this game mode. That's what I'm hoping to see. There are a lot of other things I want to see in League of Legends, such as a proper league structured system, in-game clan and guild support, persistent team support, but that I will cover in a future video when I actually do look at the League of Legends community and its tools as a whole. I just wanted to get this sort of quick preview and my thoughts out about Dominion while it's hot off the press and fresh in everybody's mind, because I think this is something that could spark a lot of debate amongst esports and League of Legends players. And I want to hear back from you guys. I mean, I'm no expert at League of Legends, although I am a very good theory crafter and tactical thinker in the game, or I like to think so. I'd love to hear back as to what you think are going to be the big changes from this mode, what you think is going to be altered in Dominion, and how you think it's going to impact the League of Legends community as a whole. That's something I am going to be very interested to see and hear about. So get in touch with me and check out the blog. It's nice, it's shiny, it's new. Check out the Steam group, the Facebook page, the Twitter feed. Please like us, subscribe to us, Twitter us, tweet us, whatever you want to call it. Go to the blog, get an RSS feed going. You know, we're getting a presence on the web, we're getting some momentum, so help us out with that. Spread the word and enjoy your gaming. thanks for listening, and I'll be back later on today, I think, with the second of the three-part triple whammy special that we're doing, which will be the preview and discussion of WoW's Mist of Pandaria leak and how we think this is going to impact on the Old Republic's launch plans, and basically how we think the matchup between Blizzard and BioWare is going to shape out over the rest of this year, building up to the launch of Star Wars The Old Republic. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye bye.